Everybody can get. Why does she want to let her go and travel? You know, because you can learn to learn, sorry, like you on your loss today. You take on your coffee because you pay and you pay. Hey, Joe, me, when you start doing it, it's disorganized.
Your Excellency, once again, with all you and let me apologize for our standing. I have the instruction of the National Bank to give to Your Excellency in respect of
men, not men. And I don't know what men are doing here.
We just accommodate. So, I want to quickly present Mrs. Tayo Kumola. She happens to be the president of the Women's Mrs. Grace Oyinadejobi. Mrs. Ronke Abayan. Mrs. Folake Ali, Chief Mrs. Folake Ali.
So the shabu ni pada o.
Mrs. Daniel Kusabo. Mrs. Foluke Afolayan. Mrs. Taibata Ali. Mrs. Famolago Afolayan. And of course, this is Tajudin Baramati, the member of the organizing committee, so we are only asked to
Anyway, welcome.
Thank you. I am the People's Support.
Alias. Okay,
Mrs. Sade Aliu, and of course, Mrs. Idowu, the General Secretary of the Women's
Your Excellency, may we introduce ourselves as the Women's Wing of Association of Nigerian Theatre Associations, a body formed in 1972 by Chief Dr. Ibas Adedeji and his colleague Kola Ogumola Bonya Adejobi, Durola Dipo, Mrs. Kolaya, and others. We are happy to say that women in the theatre practice play a good role in achieving the desired objectives of and understanding among various theatre groups. This makes the National Executive Council, under the late President, Chief Dr. Ibas Ogunde, to inaugurate the Women's Wing with the basic responsibility of giving advice and support to the Council. And the current President, Chief Adeyemi Afolayan, alias Adelo, and the executive members uphold the same stand. Our visit to Your Excellency today is to pledge support of the entire members of ANTP, Women's Wing, to the arrival of Nigerian women in contributing to the social, political, economic, and cultural lives of our society. We praise the efforts of Her Excellency, the First Lady, Mrs. Miriam Babangida, in the inauguration of the Better Life for Rural Women, and it is our hope that the women in theatre and practice be carried along in the Better Life programs. We are proud to say that all the special arts, designs and props in our various productions are being made by us, and these products are so good enough for exportation, as some of them are meant to project the true African culture. The Theatre Week 92 of our association will be declared open on Friday, 15th May 1992 by His Excellency Sir Michael Abolade Otedola. As part of the week, the theatre women will be taking the title at Dewalara, and with all due respect, we hereby invite Your Excellency as the mother of the day on Tuesday, 19th May 1992 at the National Arts Museum by 11 a.m. prompt. The Deputy Governor Alhaja Tinosu Aderoju Ojukwu has accepted to declare the day open. Thank you for your giving us audience.
Mo rò wípé a fẹ́ sọ èdè tí o máa ń kà màmá rẹ̀ tí èdè tí kì í ṣe tiwa lè níta kà ń sìn so mo rò pé a fẹ́ sọ èdè tí ó máa yé gbogbo wa dáadáa ẹ fún mi ní gáfárà yẹn ká lè sọ èdè wa. Àkọ́kọ́ mo ní láti kọ́kọ́ sọ nǹkan kan mo kàn ní orúkọ mi lórí tẹlifíṣàn wípé mother of the day láì jẹ́ wípé ẹ kọ́kọ́ ti sọ fún mi ẹ̀jẹ̀ ti gba àṣẹ láti ẹnu mi kẹ́ tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní fi sínú kẹ́ tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní polówó rẹ̀ lórí àwọn kan náà fóònù mi èmi ò tẹ̀ rí so àwọn kan náà fóònù mi náà sọ fún mi pé máa wà níbi tí níbi ìjọba ìlú lóṣù òfin tó ṣẹlẹ̀ mo ní wọ́n kí ẹ̀jẹ̀ education kan wọ́n pe bàbá wa wọ́n dẹ̀ tó mi náà kàn ní pé àgé bẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n tí àwọn obìnrin tó dẹ̀ ní mọ́dọ̀ dìde mo ní mi ò mọ nǹkan kan pẹ̀ nǹkan ṣíṣe náà ni mo rò pé níjọ́ mi ó yẹ kẹ́ kọ́kọ́ máa gbàṣẹ ká má fi rò pé ìfòdè òkú ká fi máa ṣe nínú wádùn láti rí ní àárọ̀ yìí àti àwọn ibi lẹ́yìn àwọn ìdá tán bá wa wá àti àwa mo rò pé kìí ṣe pé wọ́n sọ fún aṣáájú bá àlè dá ṣe nǹkan táwọn bá tó lẹ́nu adúpẹ́ mo rò wípé ó yẹ kí èmi náà rọra fi àwọn tí wọ́n wà ní hàn yìí Director General wa Women Commission ìdìtà ìgbésẹ̀ òjìṣàn mi Director wa Grace Ọláwọyè so mo rò wípé àwọn méjì yẹn lẹ́nu àti àwọn àwọn press àti gbogbo wọn so lórúkọ gbogbo wọn ṣá àti protocol àti títí tó kù gbogbo ọ̀nà tí wípé kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àbọ̀. so mo rò wípé àdírẹ́sì tí pírẹsidẹ́ǹtì tí wọ́n kà fún wa mo rò pé ohun tó kàn ṣe kókó tí mo rí dìmú bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wípé ẹ fẹ́ràn lọ́wọ́ àbí yẹn kọ́ ni bàbá àtọ́jà ti máa bá yín polongo tí gbogbo àwọn èèyàn máa fi mọ̀ wípé kì í ṣe téèyàn bá ṣe dókítà nìkan àbí lọ́ọ̀yà nìkan àbí àkáńtáǹtì nìkan lòun náà lè ṣe iṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ tó yẹ kó ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí obìnrin. Inú mi dùn wípé gbogbo eré ta máa ń wò ẹ máa ń fi hàn irú ìgbésí ayé tó yẹ ká gbé bó ṣe yẹ ká tọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa oúnjẹ tó wọ́n bó ṣe yẹ kó pọ̀ sí mo rò wípé ìkànnì mò ń wò ní àná mi ò mo ń ṣe mítì mo ń fi ojú wo mo ń ṣe mítì mo ń fi ojú wo tí wọ́n fi sọ wípé if I am right wípé ìgbà tí owó ò tó àbí nǹkan kan ìgbà tí owó ò tó ìyẹn ni oúnjẹ ni ò fi pọ̀ dáadáa tó bá jẹ́.
Hola. Good way. Hey. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, it's okay like that. When she go me,
Madam, sorry.
Mrs. Otedola, the Honorable Minister of Communication and Transport, Engineer Ige, the UNICEF representative, Mr. Tuluhunga, the Vice Chancellor, University of Benin, Professor Mrs.
The Vice Chancellor, University of Benin, Professor Blaise Adeluyan, Mr. Tuluhunga, UNICEF representative, gentlemen, the introduction is very short because we want to try and keep to time. The chairman of today's occasion is going to be none other but the Minister of Communication and Transport, Chief Ige. Who has had to travel outside Nigeria. But I am happy that he's being represented this morning by a very able minister who will, during this morning, steer the affairs of this occasion. So please welcome Ms. Ige.
I'm here to represent Professor Bao Swakunwa. I will now read through the speech he has prepared for me. NGOs and the private sector in support of women's education in Nigeria, jointly organized by my ministry and UNICEF, and the inauguration of the Federal Government of Nigeria, UNICEF National Steering Committee on Women Education in this country. The Women Education Branch was established in 1986 to provide more educational opportunities for girls and women from primary to tertiary level in the formal and non-formal sectors, and to promote science, technology, and mathematics among females in Nigeria. I want to especially thank Your Excellency once again for your launching of the Women Educational Awareness Campaign at the national level in 1986, after which the campaign was launched in all states of the Federation and Abuja. The publication of the Blueprint on Women Education in Nigeria and the training of 200 women from each state of the Federation and Abuja in leadership, cooperative, and income-generating activities in 1986 and 1987, respectively, were both testimonies of the Ministry of Education's determination to improve the educational status of the Nigerian woman. The establishment and equipping of women education centers in all states of the Federation and Abuja commenced in 1988. By the end of this year, there will have been 170 of such centers in the country, already equipped by my ministry and functioning. After much consultation between the federal government of Nigeria and UNICEF, the following focus states have been selected for this joint program of cooperation in women's education: Niger, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, and Taraba, to give impetus to programs developed and to ensure that the program remains a national priority. Sotetola, ably representing Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Miriam Babangida, to declare the workshop open. Thank you.
The fact that her address to be read shows that she shares with us in spirit. She loves you and prays for the audience. I have to read her address. Honorable Minister, UNICEF Permanent Representative in Nigeria, Director General, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am most delighted to be here with you this morning as special guest of honor and to declare open this important mobilization workshop for policy makers, non-governmental organizations, and the private sector in support of women's education in Nigeria, organized by the federal government of Nigeria. Young women through education have not only been my heartthrob, but indeed my dream for all this. For it is only through education that the Nigerian woman can keep her account books well in trade, can understand the essence of family planning, and raise a healthy family including herself, and can free herself from the shackles of ignorance and retrogressive laws and customs that imprison her robust creative energies and limit, if not stultify, her self-fulfillment. Education carves and guides this path towards the empowerment of the Nigerian woman without any revolting upsetting of the traditional laws of the land or the redefinition of the maternal or social responsibilities of the woman. Education indeed enlightens the wider society towards a greater and deeper appreciation of the worth and the well-intended role of Nigerian women, the collective result of which assures a more egalitarian society with higher justice and fair play, as well as an enlarged reserve of the nation's human resources. I am glad, therefore, that this type of cooperation has existed between the Federal Ministry of Education and UNICEF to improve the educational status of women in this great nation. May I therefore congratulate the Honorable Minister of Education and Youth Development on this achievement and wish him further successes in the pursuit of this goal. I equally congratulate UNICEF for realizing the importance of women's education on child survival, family health and community development, and going into partnership with the Federal Ministry of Education and Youth Development for the promotion of the education of the women folk. I pray fervently that this cooperation not only remains an effective and lasting one, but penetrates down to the grassroots, particularly the rural areas, for optimum results. The Better Life program for the rural woman, which I initiated, has since its inception played a veritable catalyst and vehicle for the acceleration of the policies of the government in all spheres of the nation's life, including education. It is on record that it is that role that was part of the success story of exercises like the ORT and the EPI in the health sector. The Better Life program, therefore, places its services at the disposal of the Federal Ministry of Education and Youth Development and the UNICEF in bringing education to the very doorsteps of not only the rural women, but also the urban disadvantaged women in Nigeria. I salute all non-governmental and private organizations here present. I am aware that effort is being made by some non-governmental organizations and private organizations in this country to empower women educationally, but I must observe that a lot more remains to be done in this direction. Such programs as basic literacy, skill acquisition, agricultural extension, scholarship and loan schemes for women, so that by the year 2000, the educational, social, economic, and living standards of women in this country would have been raised by at least 70%. These organizations this way would not only be fulfilling profusely their social responsibilities in community relations, but indeed helping to build a more qualitative society and citizenry from which they stand to benefit immensely. To all Nigerian women, I have this to say. This is a wonderful time to be a woman. Given all these existing opportunities and programs through government, non-governmental, international, and private organizations initiatives, I implore you to strive hard to make the best of these opportunities by improving yourself, not only economically, but also politically, socially, and above all, educationally. I therefore have the singular pleasure to declare this workshop open. I wish you all successful deliberations. Thank you for listening.
Development presented by the Minister. The media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure and privilege to present this distinguished gathering. That such a large number of our policymakers, non-governmental organizations, the private sector, and media gathered here today is an encouraging response to the well-chosen theme of this workshop, namely empowering women and girls through education. First and foremost, I wish to acknowledge the vision of the First Lady of Nigeria. Leaders of Nigerian women and girls have won both national and international acclaim. It is a sad fact that the position of women, especially women in developing countries such as Nigeria, remains largely unfavorable. In the pre-colonial Africa, women held significant power and influence in their various societies, in trade, as well as in the local governance. Colonial rulers, however, came from the societies that ignored the legitimacy of women's political power. Such as attitude led to strong resistance and hostility, even rebellion, in their vulnerability in key areas of health and nutrition, education and employment. The feminist hostility and confrontation of the past have given way to dialogue, negotiations, and advocacy. However, women's development indicators continue to reveal a deficit on the balance sheet. Let us for one moment review the facts. On the average, each Nigerian woman has 6.3 children in her lifetime, whereas the American and Sri Lankan counterparts have 1.8 and 2.5 respectively. Our life expectancy is not more than 54 years. Half of all marriages are entered into by girls below the age of 15. Low access to school and early dropouts are characteristics amongst girls than boys, with the result that while 54% of Nigerian men are literate, only 31% of Nigerian women can read and write. In the rural areas where 70% of the population resides and where health services are in great demand by women and children, only 30% of the rural population has access to quality health services. A basic commodity such as potable water is denied to 80% of the rural population, even in this contemporary period in Africa. Largely, the role of women in Nigeria, as in other sub-Saharan countries, continues to be traditional, where this legacy of colonialism remains the subject of debate. The reality is that the majority of African women remain trapped in positions of powerlessness and disadvantage. In addition, they remain poor, overworked, ignorant, and in many cases pregnant. Within households and communities, women continue to bear the brunt of multiplicity of roles, often with inadequate resources and dire consequences as anemia, overwork, loss of opportunities for self-employment, stress, and fatigue take their toll, especially on women. These are factors contributing to the high mortality rates in Nigeria and other African countries. A thorough examination is therefore required of what we commonly refer to as what? Our traditional and cultural heritage. In African societies, tradition dies hard, remaining unchallenged and unquestioned. Even in the face of barriers to women's sound health, better education, meaningful employment, and productivity. Such barriers block women's access to information and resources liable for expanding their horizons and opportunities as part of the larger communities. Part of the problem is the commonly held view that women are satisfied with their traditional roles. Advocates for greater female enlightenment are seen as mischievous and as promoters of Western feminism to undermine African gender relations. However, research evidence shows that African women, including Nigerians, are far from being satisfied. Even those women in seclusion, when afforded the opportunity, have often articulated strong views against their traditional subordination. The evidence that barriers to women's development are being dismantled by women themselves is not far to seek. We have among us distinguished architects of social and economic transformation of Nigerian women in the presence of the First Lady, Dr. Mrs. Mariam Babangida, and her colleagues in all states. Her Excellence has made a unique contribution to set the rural women's solidarity on her feet as well as on the world map. Her recent international and national awards for her work in alleviating hunger among rural women bear testimony to relentless efforts to uplift the status of Nigerian women and girls. These milestones will be duly recorded in the history of women's development in Nigeria. Both international and national, we give a great attention to women's development issues, especially in the following areas where the challenges are many. Education. The 1990 John Kearns Conference on Education for All by the year 2000 emphasized the eradication of illiteracy, especially among women. I am pleased to know that the federal government of Nigeria, assisted by UNICEF and other agencies, has embarked on a 5-year program of education for women, designed to address basic learning needs through establishment of women education centers in selected local government areas and communities in the 10 states, focus states of Benue, Cross River, Oyo, Ondo, Ocean, Kaduna, Niger, Bauchi, Adamawa, and Taraba. The challenge for government and concerned agencies is to increase the female literacy from 31% to at least 50% by the year 1990. Fees should be waived and special scholarships for girls provided. Women, health and education and nutrition. The World Health for Children 1990 laid emphasis on health and nutrition of the female child, sources by virtue of their roles as teachers, household water, children, their parents, and other siblings. Further, schools could make a difference as a viable channel for establishment of a surveillance system for inworm and other diseases. They could also promote drinking water security, it provided with low-cost clay pots, feeding taps and filters. Economy is great so far. Will they survive the current economic policies? A complete review on how they can be strengthened educationally and increase the accessibility to parents is required.
I'm UNICEF. To the First Lady of Nigeria, Her Excellency Dr. Mariam Babangida, represented by the wife of the Governor of Lagos State. Mr. Chairman, I also have the honor of making the same presentation to the Honorable Minister of Education and Youth Development, who in fact is one of our major partners, the same master plan of operations that spells out the program of cooperation between the federal government of Nigeria and UNICEF for the period 1991 to 1995.
Copies of the blueprint for women's education in Nigeria to Mrs. Otedola, the wife governor of Lagos State.
Proud mothers of the coming age, it is good to find you now engaged, your mind and time and life to raise above the level of bygone days. It is good to see you play your part with spirit and a daunted heart. It gives us happy struggle to a glimpse of the bright and glorious goal. God bless you, mothers of our race. God cause to shine in your face and give you strength and all you crave to bring forth sons and daughters free. Thank you.
Is very pleased to participate in this auspicious occasion and to commend the initiative of our co-partners in development, the Federal Government of Nigeria and UNICEF. The theme of this National Mobilization Workshop, Empowering Women and Girls Through Education, is of particular significance to UNDP, since we, in partnership with the Government of Nigeria, are also seeking to realize this objective in our 5-year multi-donor, cross-sectoral Women in Development Support Program. The education of disadvantaged groups, especially women who are vital contributors to all sectors of the Nigerian economy, strikes at the heart of our mandate. All told, women are in fact the largest beneficiary group under our Forced Country Program assistance to Nigeria. By this means, we can hope to realize the goal of self-reliance through the empowerment of the human factor. UNDP is proud to play a part in bringing this developmental imperative to the attention of the nation. Honourable Minister, the UNICEF representative, we congratulate you on this timely initiative and gratefully accept this invitation to serve in partnership. Thank you.
It is a singular pleasure to be here present this morning, representing the Triple City Project Coordinator and the USAID Director. As a matter of fact, the two officials, the USAID Director and the Triple City Project Coordinator, are out of town, but in view of the very importance they attach to the invitation and the programs for which we are gathered here, just to say that they are very much in support of the program. Thank you very much, Mr. Chia.
Mr. James Michael, to stand in for him today. He is in the United Kingdom at the moment, but would have wished to be here if you were in the country. The British Council will have been established in Nigeria for 50 years next year, and we look forward to some celebrations next to commemorate this occasion. We have always had a special interest in women and education, and wholeheartedly support the initiative being discussed today. Over the last couple of years, the British Council has tried in our own way to support women in education. Our activities have included increasing the proportion of women going to the UK under British government funding for training. The figure now stands at 15%. Under the Foreign and Commonwealth Office Scholarship Program, we have raised the figure to 50% of the normal number of people we had sent out 2 years before now. We are planning a special program for training in women in middle management positions. We are supporting women in management training in the Nigerian Institute of Management and ASCON. Under university levels, we have supported the training of women in health management and are planning to support the development of a Women in Agriculture program and a Women's Studies program. We are exploring ways of supporting women education in mass education and literacy and in other areas of the formal education system. We look forward to the results of this workshop with anticipation and give our full support. Thank you.
Nigeria. May I congratulate the federal government of Nigeria and UNICEF for this national mobilization workshop in support of women's education. The special focus on women's education by this administration since 1987, from primary through tertiary level, has greatly accelerated the pace of access of women to education generally in Nigeria. Those of us who have had the privilege of traveling the length and breadth of this nation can attest to the spread and the impact made by this program, which was established only 5 years ago. One of the main objectives of the National Council of Women Societies from its inception 34 years ago has been the encouragement of women education. And today, our founding mothers will no doubt feel completely fulfilled by the giant strides made in women education, so much epitomized by the presence of 2 vice chancellors in Nigeria, one of whom is present with us today, deputy vice chancellors, rectors of polytechnics, and graduates of the numerous vocational training centers in Nigeria. We congratulate the federal government and UNICEF for their belief in the Nigerian woman. We also congratulate the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is also our patron, Her Excellency Mrs. Babangida, for spearheading the special program on women education since 1987. The National Council of Women Societies, as the umbrella of women voluntary organizations in Nigeria, with this structure at the national, state, and LGA level, will continue to support women education through our scholarship funds, which many of our member organizations like Society of Women Accountants, Association of Women Bankers, Association of Women Engineers are already giving in the country. Indeed, on Friday, 15th of May 1992, the National Council of Women Societies will join its other member organizations in the establishment of a cultural and development center for training, vocational training of girls who have dropped out of the main educational system. We shall be joining organizations like the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives and also our state branches. We thank the federal government of Nigeria and UNICEF for making us a part of this great program.
To have been given this privilege of reading a keynote address to this august body. If the address is not good enough, it is the result of my inability to rise up to the occasion. But I want to assure you that my heart is filled with joy and my happiness is overflowing at this presentation today, at the focus and the emphasis being laid on women's education, and particularly at the event of the last few years, taking into consideration the eminent role played by our First Lady in empowering women, even without saying so much. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of attending a meeting of pharmacists in Nigeria. And again, I had the privilege of saying a few words there. And there I found quite a number of girls who were at school with me. When I say quite a number, I mean about 4 or 5. And in introducing one of them, I couldn't help but remind the audience that when in 1949 some of us aspired to go on for higher training, most of our parents were asked to take a second look at us and perhaps to examine us, if not send us to Arrow. Because we were doing things that women should not do. It was bad enough to have been sent to secondary school, not to mention trying to go on to higher positions. But today, we not only have a large percentage of girls aspiring to go into our universities, we have a groundswell from the grassroots of women and children in urban centers, in rural centers, all of whom want to have the female children educated. I salute all those parents who have endured the hardship and have made the sacrifices necessary to send our girls to school. I also particularly the present administration for the initiatives in women's education. Last but not least, I salute the courage of our First Lady for working tirelessly for the upliftment of womanhood. Not only has been recognized. To deal with so large and complex a subject as women and education is rather like trying to figure out the essence of life. Empowering women through education is one that fits the needs of the moment. To enable us to handle the issues properly, we need to ask ourselves the question, what is empowerment? What is education? Is empowerment the ability to hold a high office or responsibility, or ability for unskilled labor? Is it capacity for divergent analytical thinking, or ability to accept social stereotypes? Is it the ability and capacity for independence, or ability to exist in the shadow of our spouses, our families, our community, and our country? In effect, what type of education are we talking about for women? Is it education for high responsibility, or education for domestication and position as second-rate citizens? One is inclined to believe that we are talking about education that will equip women for full living in the technological world of the 90s and beyond. Education that will help women realize their self-worth and consequently contribute meaningfully to family, community, national and international development, for only then can we say women are empowered. However, there are weighty issues in empowering women through education. Empowerment through education should be seen as having to do not only with the empowerment in the larger society, but also in the power relations of learner, teacher, as facilitator in the learning situation. If education is understood not only as the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and attitudes, but also as having a voice, a space for action in one's society, then we may recall some of the forces that impede the education of women. In what ways does education actually bring empowerment within families, community, workplaces, and society? Does this work differently for women than for men? What chance is there for using education in the current economic crisis when there are too few books, fewer teachers, and not enough school places for our children? These questions are vital in appreciating the enormous task of empowering women through education. But first of all, let us examine briefly the educational disparities between men and women. According to a recent UNESCO report, 1988, 63% of the world's approximately 1 billion illiterate people is female. And the proportion of women literate is steadily increasing. Between 1960 and 88, the number of illiterate women in Africa rose by 44%, from 68 million to 98 million. The increase among males was much smaller. These statistics highlight the de facto discrimination against women in education. This is from pre-colonial traditions, as well as colonial and post-colonial imperialist conditions, all account for the specific situations of poor, illiterate women today. In general, lack of access to school accounts for most adult illiteracy. The traditional sex division of roles in the family and in the society exclude most girls from basic education from school. Even when girls enroll in schools, education often reinforces their subordination. Even if the open discrimination practiced in colonial days is less common today, patriarchal ideologies and social systems that discriminate against women have persisted. Such actually better appreciate the hindrances against girls' education from the start, so as to annul these hindrances. Perspectives on power and education. In developing the theme of this address, it is necessary from the onset to clarify the concepts of our discussion. The concepts of power and education and the essence of the latter in empowering human beings. Sometimes holding conflicts of interest against each other, and sometimes even fighting each other. The wars around the world are a result of people wanting to be more powerful than others. The major point canvassed is that women have reached the conclusion that they have been shunted into non-decision-making positions in the society and are therefore powerless. Women appear to have been manipulated into a situation by male-dominated societies that have, through generations, decided on what influence, what authority a woman can exert in the society. Perhaps arising from their greater physical strength, men have, by sheer force and coercion, dominated the decision-making bodies and methods in our society, and therefore we live in a male-dominated society where men appear to have practically all the power. The general sense contained in attempts to define education, beginning with Plato, is that education is the process. Education can also be formal, informal, or basic. There is a symbiotic relationship between education and the marginalization of people, either socially, economically, or politically. It is those groups that are in some way outside the mainstream, forced into society, male and female, without education, and especially equal educational experiences, skill problems and challenges, just as any male is dependent on education and exposure. Thus, we may conclude that a woman's response as well as her ability to deal with situations will depend more or less on her education and nursing. They are encouraged to strive to be the doctor's wife, not the doctor. And reproductive capabilities. Many prejudices and stereotypes of women are instilled by socialization, so that women have to fight against the taboos of society in order to be free to be active, influential, and powerful. Nevertheless, the traditional role of women is changing in the face of worldwide changes in the economy, that women be exposed to various forms of basic education. The effects of basic education, manhood, yet clearly able to hold their own in the competition of life, either within the home or within the society at large. Another major effect that basic education must have is to assist women to appreciate their heritage and culture, but at the same time be capable of selecting for themselves only those attitudes, values, and behavior that are necessary and useful for them in this fast-changing world. It is only in this manner that women can convince men who have the power that rather than being a threat to manhood, women are needed to raise mankind to greater heights. In short, that the empowerment of women is a blessing to man. Basic education entails a combination of formal schooling as reflected in the primary education and non-formal education as reflected in the instructional and regimented processes of acquiring knowledge and skills for functional existence in any society. Skills, attitudes, and capacities that enable individuals to preserve self-esteem by assuming control over their own group and becoming active participants in a process of social change that will lead to a more peaceful, just, and harmonious society. Challenges can lead men to violent reactions against women. This is an important issue that needs careful attention. Moreover, teaching methods and attitudes play an essential role in literacy participation among women in particular. The role of female teachers for female learners and the
privileged but not disdainful, initiator of a better life for the unsung group of Africa, winner of a coveted honor, prize for the sustainable end of hunger, darling of the children of Nigeria, the first lady with whomever they danced and rummed with hearts of gold. Black goddess of Nigeria, even without political power, you built more than a tower, inspiring all first ladies to endow others as they are blessed.
You held forth the torch. Lady Macbeth
was cruel and hard.
For the devil.
Oh, yea, a century more to guide.
If political power were on you bestowed, what else would you do? Transform Nigeria to a utopia greater than all that land. Water swallows pebbles. Yet she has no teeth. If she had teeth, she would eat gold.
In the positions men put them to. Great lady, with that disarming smile, tell the high and mighty O to empower our females with education so, and watch what the world would be. There you live, 10 decades more, policymakers, NGOs, and the private sector. First and foremost, my thanks go to the First Lady, Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Miriam Babangida, who, though unavoidably absent, had sent Her Excellency Mrs. Georgia Otedola to represent her. I thank you very much, Madam. You have ably done so this morning. I also thank very much the Honorable Minister of Communications and Transport, who has had to step in for the Honorable Minister of Education and Youth Development. When I went to his office yesterday to remind him, and I was told that he was not around, the secretary said, Madam, we remember the appointment and the Honorable Minister will be there. And he came very early this morning to represent the Minister. Thank you very much. Chancellor of the University of Benin, I say a very big thank you. She has always been our mentor, our mother, our facilitator, and has always encouraged us in whatever we do, even when given the shortest notice. I recall with pleasure and with gratitude the last time she was invited by the Federal Ministry of Education, Women Education Branch, in 1990, when the ministry hosted a workshop on the constraints of girls to education in Nigeria. It was just a day after she was very ill, and it was carried in all the newspapers that she was very, very ill, and we had given up hope that she would honor our invitation. We waited for her at the venue, and just at the time we were about to start the opening ceremony, there she appeared, and everybody acknowledged. A very big thank you to our dear sister, and I wouldn't like to let the cat out of the bag, but very soon she may.
But we are proud to have you here today with us.